Sweet. Well, welcome to the second edition of Make 2022 Your Best Year Yet, or Make 22 Your Best Yet. Last year we ran this, make obviously 2021 Your Best, and it was a absolute belter. I think we had like 185 people watch it over 2 days, which was brilliant. And hopefully we can get some similar numbers this year. And it's going to be very cool to see you guys implement this into your 2022 to make it an absolute belter of a year. If you do see me pausing just quickly, it's because I'm trying to still let people in. I'm not very good at doing two things at once, so I'll just leave that over there. Cool. So obviously the purpose of setting your year up for success, guys, 2014, I figured out fairly slowly, or I consider late in life, that the benefit of actually deciding what you want from your life and building a plan around that to achieve that can lead to huge growth, especially over a 12-month period. A lot of us, wish we had the results we're working towards yesterday, but we underestimate or undervalue the power of small, consistent daily action. And if you think about that over 365 days, your life's going to be in a completely different position. And I've managed to do that year upon year. And for those who understand how compounding interest works, and I might actually even bring that up at the end, a little thing so you can get a visual on that, it's pretty fucking exciting to think about where your life will get to should you just focus on the small, consistent daily steps. So before I show that quick video, I just want to give you a rundown of what we'll cover, and just, I guess, a few housekeeping. For anyone who hasn't used Zoom before, if you do want to drop any questions in the chat feature, it's just down in the bottom there where you just write chat and just drop any questions, and I'll make sure I cover those at the end. I just want to try and get through this as fast and efficiently as possible for you guys. So for those who have time restraints, you can get back to your evening, but I want to make sure I deliver as much value so you guys can take away from this to make sure that this year is as successful as you need it to be. So what we're going to cover, what is your current goal and what is important to you? So why it is important to you? The difference between setting multiple goals, or really answering the question, should I set multiple goals or just set one goal? Expectation versus reality, making a plan to support the goals that you've set, who you need to become in order to achieve that. Obviously, if we're going to do something and achieve something that we've never done before, we're not going to be the same bloke we are now when we get there. Okay, we're going to have to build upon that. We're going to have to challenge certain beliefs and grow in order to achieve that, right? And that's probably what holds a lot of people back. There's hands up if you've set a goal before and you've fallen off the wagon after a week or two. Hands up there. There's a few people I can't see, but that's all good. We want to think about then what you need in order to achieve that. Could it be coaching? What kinds of accountability? Do you understand what behavioral flexibility is and how you can implement that to get what you're looking for? I'll share some recommended tools that have served me really well, from planners to diaries to accountability, ways to hold yourself accountable, and also some daily actions that have helped me thrive. So I want to take you guys back, just so it's probably more so so I can watch it, but I hope you guys get a little laugh out of it. But this video that I did jump on before was me 2014, or the very start of 2014, when I just moved back from France, and I was working as a chippies labourer, and I fucking hated my life. But it was the first sort of moment that I'd been introduced into personal development, and I was really starting to work out how I was going to, achieve some big things in my life.
Everywhere.
Can you guys hear that?
No, mate.
Nah, I can't hear it. Nah.
Going through me bloody headphones.
Good old magic one question.
When you think you're being cool with your
Time
AirPods.
and money weren't an obstacle, what would my life look like? Well, first of all, I would not be wearing this work shirt, that's for sure. I'd be waking up at a beachfront apartment, taking my board out for a paddle, coming home, jumping on a plane to support my girlfriend all around the world with her music. to me, that's what's most important.
Anyway, you can see there, I don't need to show anymore. You get the general gist. But when I look back at that, I'm really proud and excited by how far I've come. And I remember to this day sitting there thinking like, well, I want to earn $1 million. I want to have this flexible lifestyle. I want to actually like being in my own head. And there are a heap of things that I didn't really or wasn't really prepared for that I wish I knew before setting the goal of just saying, hey, I'm going to earn $1 million in a year and I'm going to have my own business. And I feel those things I'm going to take you through tonight, just so you get perspective and more context around why people fall off the wagon, why people don't follow goals through, and why people aren't achieving the results that they want in their life. And I feel the experiences that I've had there from failing goals time and time again has helped me year upon year just fix that one little thing up, tweak that little thing here to now have a nice sleek system, or just even the right planning and habits that allow me to then get great results in all areas of my life. So even though some of the examples that I give here tonight may be based around things that you know aren't of interest to you, think about the principle more so than the actual story that I'm telling. Okay, so does that make sense for everyone? Does anyone have any questions so far? Cool. I'm just going to take that as a no because I said no questions. So gents, first and foremost, Jesus, I want you to think about what your current goal is for 2022. Now, you've either set them, you know, for me personally, I set them back in November of the year previous, and I know a few of you guys on here at the moment have actually already set goals. And there'll also be some of you who go, well, fuck, mate, this is why I came on the call, because I want to figure out how to set goals. Now, I'll speak to both of those before we go into that next section. So for those who have your current goal or goals, I want you to think about why they're important to you. You know, what you're hoping it will give you and give your life by achieving this goal. Right, some of the goals, you know, for me, one of my goals this year is to compete in a 400-meter race again. The only real purpose behind that is fulfilling a childhood, I guess, thing that I didn't finish. So it's just to sort of scratch my own itch. There's no other purpose aside from that. I then have a business goal, right? And the purpose of my business is, well, you know, I don't want to remain stagnant. I want to continue growing because it allows me to, you know, impact more blokes and build more mates, but it also provides a certain type of lifestyle that I'm proud to live. Okay, so I want you to think about why it's important to you, because when you're connected to why you're wanting to do things, right, it really helps you on the mornings when it's raining, or, you know, you might not be feeling the best, to get out of bed and do the actions that you need to take in order to get the results, right? And if there isn't a really, I guess, important why to it, you then get to make the decision. Do I want to invest time into this or don't I? And depending on whatever answer you come back to yourself with is completely fine. You don't always need to have a deep fucking meaning behind things. But I feel the busier you're going to get in life, right, the more precious your time is, right? And your quality of life is really a reflection of how you're spending your time or where you're spending your time. So for me, I don't really waste my time doing too much stuff that doesn't add value. Okay. So I want you guys to think about that one there. And for the people who haven't set goals, the easiest thing is to think about this. If you were to be able to answer one question, which is, what would you like your life to be like in 12 months time? Right. And if that's too big of a question at the moment, like you don't understand really who you are or what you value, that's what I would go back and do first. But for the sake of this webinar, utilize these next steps here and think about one area of your life that, should you improve it by a point of 1, it would have a significant improvement in your quality of life. So this is our lifestyle report card. And for those who are in the Strong Men of Value, we've actually got a digital one now, which is going to start doing some reporting for you, which is pretty exciting. But by improving 1 to 3 of these, which would have the most significant impact in your life? So I know it's quite small, but we've got mental health, physical health, your partner, love, so your intimate relationships, family and friends, so another form of relationships, work, career, finances, lifestyle, and sleep. And the reason why sleep's an additional health focus is because a lot of people undervalue sleep, right? From physical health to mental health to how you feel around being around people with your moods, right? It's one of those things that's undervalued. So whether you've got you're in the strong meta value, sorry, and you've got that report card, or you just want to quickly write out on a piece of paper now, write down those things and score yourself out of 10, 10 being couldn't get any better, and 1 being it's absolutely atrocious, almost rock bottom. You need to build from that. I'll give you 2 minutes now to just go through and do that, and then obviously tally up your points and score yourself out of 80. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes here now. Give you about another 40 seconds there, gents. All right. Anyone get stuck with that? Everyone's pretty good with it? Cool. So looking at that chart now, for example, you might have, mental health might be a 7, physical health a 9, your partner in love might be a 2, family, friends 3. You sort of get that gist. You're going to have a bit of a pattern there. Now, your lowest one, for example, what I said there, your partner love might be a 2, but it might not be a priority for you right now. That may not be an area that you choose to focus on. But let's say for the example, finances is something that you want to improve. It's currently at a 4. What I would ask yourself, whatever you're looking to move, and depending how comfortable you are with setting goals, you can obviously look to make a greater increase. But if you're just setting goals for the first time, or if you have a track record of not completing goals, start fucking small. It's a habit that you want to build, and it's a process that you want to start to understand. You want to start to understand yourself through goal setting, right? Because goal setting logically, as with most things, logically should be fucking easy. And if we all nailed it, we'd be extremely wealthy, we'd be extremely healthy and happy, right? But what makes all of us unique and different is what goes on up in our head, right? How we understand things, how we process things. Sorry, I got stuff in my mouth. How we understand and regulate our emotions through things, right? Some of us deal with fear. Some of us self-sabotage things, okay? So when we start small, small is relative to you as an individual, I'd say that, it allows us to understand how we move through goal setting in terms of the emotional component, right? For some of us, it's an absolute breeze. As soon as you've got a goal down on paper, nothing gets in your way. You're absolutely cutthroat. Then there's people who, the moment that it comes up to having to do something that's outside of your comfort zone, you get in your head too often and just go, no, I'm just going to stay here. I didn't really want that goal. Okay, and I truly believe, I don't know, someone just come back in. All of us have huge potential. That's why I, run this whole business. We all have potential, but we need to work through as individuals what's holding us back, right? And that's why the next step is, what's the next step for me? What's the next step for me with finances? Do I need to go from a 3 to a 4? What would be the one thing that I could achieve over 12 weeks or 12 months that's going to get me from a 3 to a 4? I don't need to go from a fucking 3 to a 10 in 12 months. Just get me to a 3 to a 4. How will getting to a 4 improve your life? That's what I want you to think about. And that's what should be at the forefront of your mind when you're setting a goal, right? Regardless of the time frame. Does that make sense for everyone? And obviously, if you're an absolute goal crusher and you're used to setting multiple goals, set anywhere from 3 to whatever feels comfortable for you. But remember, every goal that you set, you're going to have to borrow or sacrifice time elsewhere. So when you look at your calendar, which I'll show you shortly, my calendar, if you don't have the time available, don't feel you need to get that goal just now. That's where we come back to this report card. And, if you've only got time available to work on 2 goals, then so be it, right? Don't put the pressure on yourself to get 4 or 5 when you just don't physically have the time. Cool. Expectation versus reality. So I spoke about this the other day. So the thing you need to think about is what you expect of yourself this year. Right? Many of us don't take expectations into account when we're setting goals. Right? One person who I use as an example is Jez. Jez and I have spoken a lot about goal setting and my whole process around getting organized for the year ahead, because when you're organized and you have a plan to follow, there's less decisions that you have to make on those things, and you can make it on the important things in the moment. Right? A lot of people go through life feeling extremely anxious and extremely overwhelmed, because they aren't following a fucking plan and they don't have expectations around how they're going to conduct themselves through that. So I ask you guys, what do you expect of yourself this year? Do you expect you're going to play at a higher game, or are you going to continue doing the same stuff that maybe you did last year? And there's no right or wrong, guys. I'm not sitting here saying there's a right or wrong. You need to answer these questions for yourself and be comfortable with the outcomes that are going to be as a result of those actions. Right, so sit there and I want to give you, I've written 2 minutes there, but let's just go 45 seconds. That's more than enough time to answer both of these questions. What do you expect of yourself this year? Like, really, what do you really expect of yourself? And the second one is achieving that in your current reality. So an expectation, I'll use last year for me. An expectation would have been, I would have loved to have had a year where I didn't drink a whole heap of alcohol, which is, normally how I conduct most of my years. But the reality that I had in front of me and the decisions that I made was that I had multiple weddings, multiple fucking bucks parties. So I chose to enjoy those moments. And because of the just ridiculous amounts of celebrations that there was, my expectations weren't realistic. Does that make sense? Whereas this year, it's going to be a little bit different. So think about things that are going on in your life. Maybe it's there's someone out there who's saying, right, I'm going to get fucking 8 hours sleep a night. That's what I expect of myself. But you've just had a newborn kid. And I don't know what your children are like for those who have children, but maybe you're not going to get even 5 hours sleep. So is that a reality? You got to be honest with yourself here. So I've been talking for most of that, but I'll give you another 20 seconds to think about that. And the thing is, for anyone who didn't see the post I put up the other day, a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking or assuming that once you've taken the time to set a goal, you're pretty much going to nail it, right? Like it's done. But it's I'm sure many of you are aware, it's like what you focus on grows, right? A lot of us focus on things that aren't really adding value to our life. We might be conditioned to think a certain way about ourselves. It's why we live a certain lifestyle. For me, 8 years ago, I used to think, maybe this is the way I am. I drink on the weekends, do that typical footy kind of lifestyle. That was my lifestyle. And that was my reality around what I thought was possible for me. And when I think about where I am now and how I used to think, act, and behaved, not a lot is different. Like there's some small 1%ers, but on a daily basis, I still talk shit. I still have a laugh. I still get to do things that I want to do. I just talk to myself a whole heap differently, and I have different habits and different expectations, standards based around that. Let's put a question in. Mitch, I'll get to your question at the end, but great question, bro. So what do I need? Another important thing before we get into planning, to think about this, right? The expectation versus reality. And this is what I completely missed. So as I mentioned 10 minutes ago, when I first started my business, I truly believed that I was going to make $1 million in 12 months. I'd written down on paper exactly how many sales I needed, at what price to earn $1 million a year. And if anyone's ever done that before, for maybe even any number, you're like, that's fucking happening. The excitement takes over. And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to knock the wind out of your sails, but there was a lot of shit missing for who I was as an individual to someone who's earning what I wanted to earn and ran, obviously, the business, because obviously I believe your income is a direct reflection of the people that you're impacting. And there was no way I had the systems, processes, and credibility to impact the amount of people that I needed to for that revenue. So what things to think about, and this will plug into our planning, is what do I need? Is there certain things you need coaching on? For me, I needed coaching. I did Toastmasters. So I had to do a whole heap of hypnotherapy to learn how to uncover a heap of guilt and shame and shit that I was holding on to. I had to learn sales, marketing. I even worked in those roles. Toastmasters to learn to speak better. As you saw from that video, I wasn't a very exciting dude, and I still lacked a lot of stuff. I probably sound much like how I sound now with a hoarse voice. There were seminars I needed to go to because I needed to be around different kinds of people, different energies. Right? The first time I went to a personal development event, gents, I walked into this room and I was like 1,000 screaming people, all excited. And I was like, man, I've just walked into the largest cult in human history. I remember sitting there and I was like, why are all these people so happy? And, obviously they were happy because they were just learning things, they were being challenged and they were growing. And on the way out, they're like, righto, before you leave, you got to give everyone 10 hugs. And I was like, don't you fucking think you're touching me, any of you weird people. I've seen you jumping up and down for the last hour. But learning to be in that environment challenged me, right? It challenged, some of the thoughts that I had. And I realized I had to work through those in order to be able to grow my network and learn to be more comfortable in certain situations and settings, because I had anxiety, I had anger, I had a whole heap of stuff. And if you can't get to coaching or seminars, I lent on books and podcasts. They became my best mates for fucking 4 years while I was trying to figure out who I was. There was so many things that I became aware that I needed to improve upon. So I jumped on Dr. Google and just said books on wealth creation, books on understanding depression, books on understanding this, books on understanding that, podcasts on understanding this, on understanding that. Does that make sense? Because then you've got tools and resources at your fingertips where the only investment you need to make is time to start challenging your beliefs, to start learning different perspectives and growing your knowledge. Because the more that you understand, the more that you know, then puts in front of you, the more that you can implement into your life. And that's probably the hardest part, is implementing. There's people who I call like seminar junkies or book junkies who read and attend every event, but they still don't take action on anything that they're learning. You're better off learning less and implementing more, in my opinion. You need to network with people who have the results. So think about people who have what you want in life. It could be financial. It could be someone who has the most incredible family that you just want your family to be like. It could be someone who has the body that you want. It could be someone who has the mates that you have, the confidence that you want. Figure out how you're going to get around those people. And for those who, I just put up today's podcast, but if you go to a snippet on Instagram, I speak about how when I first wanted to change, the people who I know I needed to be around, the people who I aspired to hang around, didn't want to hang around me. Not because they thought I was better than me, but because I knew that they valued their time and they wouldn't want to be answering the questions that I was asking or being around the frequency that I was at. So you got two choices in that situation. You can stay where you are, which is what most people do. And I think it's the saddest thing fucking ever, because as I said earlier, all of us have so much more potential than we're, ripping into. What I would love to see more people doing is going, you know what? I'm going to fucking make myself so valuable that these people want to hang around me. These people seek me out. And that's what I did. Right. So that's part of this internal motivator and underlying process that needs to happen in order for you to get better at crushing goals. You need to work out what are these things that are going to make the people that I need to surround myself with, because we are a product of our environment. If you hang around bloody drunks all day, chances are you're going to be a drunk all day. If you hang around people who discuss ideas and, the things that interest you, the things that you want more of in your life, I guarantee you're going to excel in those areas. I guarantee you. Thirdly, you're going to need accountability, right? You can either have a mate, and if you've got a mate, that's fucking awesome. Get a gym buddy or something like that. If you need more than that, get a coach. I've got 3 of the coaches. Or if you can't do either of those, which I couldn't at the beginning, I didn't have the right mates to hold me accountable, and I couldn't afford a coach, I use social media to be held accountable. That's why I post so much on there, because I want to back up what I say I'm going to do. So that's another option. And then obviously what you also need to consider is your holidays and long weekends. A lot of people, when they go to the hustle culture and are working towards goal, they neglect downtime. That should actually probably just say downtime, restoration time. Take time for yourself. You need to reflect on how you're feeling, how your energy is feeling, what's working well for you. Sometimes you miss the big picture because you're so narrow focused. Taking a day or two to step back and just breathe. Sometimes you'll have some of the greatest ideas or shifts in perspective that could change, a whole outcome. So stages of planning. So is that helpful with the goals, guys? So essentially what I wanted to cover there is, one, you need to set a goal, and it should be something that you want more of in your life, right? It's going to add value to your life. And when you start thinking about the outcome of that, which is achieving said goal, it might be achieving 10% body fat, it might be having $1,000 savings. It's never that we give a shit about. It's what it affords us, but it's also the process that we look back at. And part of that process, and I'm honest with you guys, like for me, the last 8 years, I've hit so many incredible milestones. I still haven't hit my 7 figures, but I'm so proud of the journey, and it's the journey that I'm hooked on. It's like, what can I'm almost at a point now. It's like, I want to find out all these flaws that I have. And I know people say, don't chase flaws and all that sort of stuff. But part of me enjoys being challenged, because personally, as an individual, I don't like being shit at things. For much of my childhood, I either worked really hard to get better at things, or I just completely avoided things because I didn't want to be a failure. So now, instead of avoiding things, I try to seek out as many experiences and opportunities as possible. And if I suck at them, I have a much better emotional regulation now, so I don't get aggressive and upset. And I just go, what can I do to improve in this? And to what level would I like to improve? Does that make sense? So when you can start understanding your emotional regulation, so managing your emotions, managing your fears, managing your expectations, it makes it a whole heap easier when you're going through the process of attacking a goal. So stages of planning. We got the macro, so the 12-month plan. We got the quarterly plan. We got the monthly, weekly, and then our daily actions, right? And I base this off running a business. With a business, you generally have 12-month projections, right? What you're trying to achieve, what your KPIs are, where you want your growth to be. We should be doing that for all areas of our life, in my opinion, if it's important to you, because the reason why I believe there's so many blokes out there who are, highly successful and highly wealthy, but miserable as all fuck, and have, extremely poor relationships and health, is because we've only ever been taught to plan around career. We've only ever been taught to grow through career. So when I'm looking at a 12-month plan, what I take into account is this, and this is how I structure it. For me, I think about what are the non-negotiables that I've got in my life. And two of the ones that I start with is obviously holidays, long weekends. Secondly, is if I'm investing in myself, when are those workshops or seminars? Because obviously I can't say to someone, hey, can you move your seminar to suit my schedule? Everything else I can build in and around that. But they're the two non-negotiables that I have to, before I even start planning my year, is what do I want to improve upon? So I'll tell you for this year what I'm improving upon is podcast hosting. So I'm doing a 4-day workshop on learning to speak better and how I can run my whole podcast better. Second is online business. So I want to work out what systems and processes I'm missing out in my business. So I'm doing a program on that. Thirdly is I want to do some inner work again, have a good hard look at myself. So I'm doing an event in September. So I've found who I want to learn from. I've found people who have credibility in that space. I believe are going to help me learn a little bit in that area to make me better and help me achieve my goals. And I've found when they have workshops on or courses. So I've put that in the calendar, right? That doesn't move. I can't expect them to move. The second thing is then, like I said, when do I want to take a holiday or when do I want to give myself a long weekend? I give myself a long weekend every 8 weeks, right, to recharge. Put that in your calendar, because if you don't put that in and then build your year off of that, it's not going to fucking happen. Think about how many times you've said, yeah, I'm going to take that holiday this year. Gets to Christmas and you haven't done it. So without a plan, you're planning to fail. Or what's the saying? Fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So that's how I start my year. Then from that, for me personally, I put in what events am I going to be running? When can that fit in? Obviously based around public holidays, all of that sort of stuff. What experiences do I want to have? I want to have surf trips. I'm doing 3 charity events this year. So think about these non-negotiables that you really want to experience. I've put in the calendar my races for the year. One of my goals was to run a fucking proper race this year. I've got 4 over the next 5 weeks. It's all in the calendar. So what do you want to achieve this year? What do you want to experience this year? And have you already put it in your macro planner, your 12-month planner? Because if you haven't done that, the chances of you doing it are pretty fucking slim. Okay, once you've got that 12-monther planned, you can then use that to do your quarters, months, all of that sort of stuff. Use that as a framework, okay? So obviously you use your goals, but you also use your structures in that monthly plan. As I mentioned, one goal, actually I'll use business because it's easy to talk about. I have an income goal, a revenue goal for the year, and I have a members goal for the year, okay? And things that I want to introduce throughout the year. I know that if I break that back, the first quarter, I need to roughly be at this amount of members. I need to roughly have be at this revenue. I also am committed to introducing this into the program and that into the program. Okay, quarter 2, I'm wanting to get to this revenue. What is the marketing process that needs to happen in order to fill those numbers? Okay, is that making sense? So then all that happens is you go, rather than thinking about the whole 12 months, which you can look at 12 months and go, shit, there's a lot of stuff on this board. You just go to quarter one. And if that's even a little bit overwhelming, that's when we go into monthly, right? What are we focusing on in January to help me hit my quarter 1 goals? Does that make sense? You can see how we're stripping it back. I can't really see everyone's faces, so I'm just going to assume that's making sense unless someone posts a comment. So what you then want to do, gents, obviously once you've got what you're working towards for those quarters, you break it down into monthly, okay? In order for me to be here by the end of quarter 1, where do I need to be by the end of month 2, which is obviously the month before the end of the quarter? Where do I need to be by the end of month 1? And what are the actions that are going to get me there? What's the plan? Because it may seem, like I said, it sounds like a lot of work, and to be honest, it is a fucking lot of work. But if you get this done now, All you need to do is follow the plan that you've created. Right? When you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you're losing focus, rather than wasting another 12 months, you go, look, I know exactly where I need to go to get back on track. It's to my fucking diary. It's going to tell me exactly what I'm committed to doing this week, which is going to get me to hit my monthly goal. And should I be on track with my monthly goals, I'm going to hit my quarterly goals. Okay? Does that make sense? A few nods. Sick. Now, gents, for within obviously the strong men of value, you'll see we do a 12-week game plan. And once again, going back to business, in business, you got to do your business activity statements every quarter. And I think it's a good thing because it helps you check in on how things are going. Are you above or are you below or you're just breaking even? Once again, we should be doing this within all areas of our life. Every quarter, we should have a 12-month sprint where you work hard to achieve something. And then at the end of that 12 months, take a week or so to review how that's going for you. Is has a goal that you set for 12 months, is that realistic, or do you need to potentially look at making a few changes? Are the actions that you're taking to achieve that goal, are they the most effective and the most efficient for you to achieve that goal? Sometimes you'll find they're not. Is the structure that you have, is that working well for you? Sometimes you'll find it's not, which means that way you can change it rather than going through 12 months doing actions that are ineffective for you. Does that make sense? So as we've loosely discussed already, there's obviously going to be some changes in personal standards that you're going to need to have to support your goals. There's a lot of people out there who don't really lack discipline, really lack routine and structure, don't take responsibility or accountability, and are terrible with behavioral flexibility. So some things that you're going to need to take on board this year is you're going to need to create routines and structures for you. Once again, this is why this planning is so important. Chunking your time is important, and I'll show you mine at the end of this. Just remind me to do that. Is important because while it's not necessarily set in stone, which is what freaks a lot of people out, because they go, fuck, if I do this, what if this pops up? This is where behavioral flexibility, this little number here, comes into play, and you need to think on your feet. You need to take responsibility and go, look, this is what I did have planned this week or today, but something's come up. I need to make a judgment call here. What's more important to me and what's going to move me closer to my goals? Or sometimes the decision at hand may not necessarily be taking you closer to your goals, but it may be an emergency. And you need to make the decisions. And having great behavioral flexibility means you have a great self-awareness. You have great emotional regulations, which mean by deviating from your plan, by stepping back from your goal, you're not going to become have a blow up, an emotional blow up. You're going to be okay with the decision that you've made. So think about this. What routines do you need, or what structure do you need to support you achieving this goal? It may mean, for those who are working towards a health goal and you work 9 till 6 and you can't possibly find the time to get into the gym to do the program that you have, you might have to suck it up for 12 weeks and fucking get up at 4:30. That might be something that you have to commit to, or maybe you have to dial down your goal. Okay? The discipline. As I said, if you're not getting up, you commit to getting up at 4:30 and then you wake up on day one and it's raining outside and cold and you go, just going to hit snooze. You've just lost the discipline, which has blown your fucking routine. And it's not off to a good start. Now, I'm not saying that's completely ruined your campaign. If you can get back on the wagon tomorrow, awesome. But what are you going to do to maintain discipline? And often discipline for a lot of us is uncomfortable. It's us committing to things we've never done before. That's why to all the lads, in the Strong Men of Value, we do random shit that challenges people. Might be cold showers. It might be ice baths. It might be doing a Facebook Live. It might be doing a 21-kilometer row. Things like that you feel aren't possible for you. But when you commit to doing it, you go, fuck me, I did well. Maybe I have been playing small. So find ways in your life that you can test your discipline. Every day is a test. And, you may not feel it, use social media, for example. I could upload a photo now and within 2 seconds, you're getting likes, right? It's a quick little dopamine dump. And if you're not getting many likes, you're going, maybe people didn't like my photo. If you're getting a heap of likes, you're probably going, fuck, people are frothing on this, right? Instant feedback, instant gratification. Life doesn't work like that, really. Like for you trying to lose weight, you skipping a gym session today doesn't matter. Skipping a week probably doesn't really matter. But the effect of skipping today, the effect of skipping that week will fucking matter in 3 months' time. Right? You don't just wake up broke. You don't just wake up overweight. It's the accumulation of small habits. And it works both for the positive and it works both for the negative. Right? So you need to address the structures, routine, discipline that you have because they're dictating your habits. Next one is obviously accountability. For those who have listened to enough of the podcast, you'll hear me say, I was, so poorly disciplined and I wanted to fit in so badly. If I had a health goal or some goal and someone said to me, hey, let's just go for beers on the weekend, I was in, I was done. There was no accountability and there was no discipline. So you need to find accountability through the means that I guess I said before, where you are going to be held to a higher standard. You want to have people in your corner who you tell them your goal and they go, who's on my screen? They go, Adsy, you know how you said you're working towards this? How's that going? And you're either going to go, bro, I'm absolutely fucking crushing it. Or you're going to say, I've fallen off the wagon. And if you do say that, you want them to go, mate, what are we doing to get back on the wagon? Or why'd you fall off? You want them to question you. You want them to challenge you so that you don't allow that to continue. That's what you want. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. And a lot of the time you don't fucking like it. I don't like it. But I'm so grateful when I achieve a goal that I had people to pull me back in line. Right, so don't undervalue accountability. Taking responsibility is obviously understanding you're in 100% control. No one else is. Like even you guys on here right now, you're coming here to listen to stuff, but whether you implement this or not, it doesn't affect me. It's not impacting my life at all. It's impacting your life. My goals and me getting up and showing up for myself every day impact my goals. And I want you guys to think about that. As much as we think other people are fussing over what we're doing every day, how we look and what's going on in our life, people aren't because they're too busy doing their own thing. So be one of those people who's so focused and committed to your own goals that in 12 weeks time or 12 months time, you're in a completely different position. Now, I don't think I need to speak on behavioral flexibility anymore.
Hi everyone.
I'll quickly have a little Bretto share.
Bretto's
Bretto's one of our Strong Men of Value members.
And Lockie Stewart.
So I'll quickly give you some context. So obviously for those who are looking for more accountability, looking for more structure, want to be a part of a fucking wicked group of blokes, we got the Strong Men of Value Academy and you can find out more about it. But our last week of applications is this week, right? So we're only taking applications now because we're getting close to that 100 people mark, which is where we're going to draw the line for the foreseeable future. So this is Bretto's experience so far.
Man That Can project. I just wanted to very quickly say a few words about why I joined the program and how it's affecting my life and what my experience has been. I joined the Man That Can project and ultimately the Strong Men of Value program this year, about 4 months ago. I was at a point in my life where I really needed some direction. I was getting some results, but I wasn't really hitting the goals that I wanted to hit. And I felt that I needed a bit of help and support to do that. I reached out to Lockie. I attended one of his Strong Men of Value workshops, which is a great introduction to Lockie himself, the program, and also the work that you do once you become a part of Strong Men of Value. Since then, I've joined up with the program. I'm on the app regularly. I join our weekly calls to share with men from all around the world our different perspectives, what's going on in our heads, and to help create a bit of momentum in our lives so that we're being the best men we possibly can be and living our best lives. I encourage you all.
That's Bretto. Righto, Jen. So I'm going to get to the questions in a minute. But obviously, once you've taken the time to map this plan out, right? So you should have a 12-month planner. I highly encourage using a 12-month planner because what's in the forefront of your mind, like as I said earlier, what you focus on, you'll continue to nail, right? People set goals, close their diary, and then forget about it for 12 months. For me, I've got my goal as my screensaver on my computer here, my screensaver, my backdrop. I've got it pinned on the fridge. I've got it pinned next to, like, on the bathroom basin mirror, because whenever there's moments, I want to be looking at what I want to achieve this year. Because as soon as you guys get off this call, you're going to be on Instagram, you're going to be on Facebook, you're going to be talking to friends, you're going to go to work tomorrow, and there's going to be all this shit coming at you, wanting your attention, wanting your focus, right? And you know, being good blokes that you are, you're going to give your attention and your focus to all of these things, and you're going to forget about yourself. This is got to be the year that you guys focus on your own goals, because the more that you achieve for yourself, the more that you build your own confidence, your own self-esteem, and start ticking those boxes off, the better you're going to be for everyone else. I know it's hard to think about it like that, but you have to keep it in the forefront of your mind. So think about where you're going to fucking print out your goals and where are you going to put them so that you see them, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever, that they just are constantly on your mind. Righto? So make sure you review your plan and goals and continue to ask yourself, when you look at that 12-month plan, you know, one thing I was doing today, I'm building out, some of you will laugh at this and think I'm a weird dog, but I'm building out all these man that can rooms in the metaverse at the moment because I'm really intrigued by it. And I was sitting there today, I'm like, I'm pretty lucky that I really have no other responsibility apart from the fact that I can just come in here for 2 hours and build some random online rooms that hopefully someday people hang out in, right? But one day that's going to change, right? So for me to use the plans and the structures and the goals that I have right now, they may be completely different next year or when I start a family and all those other things. So I want you to keep in mind that what works for me, what works for your mates, may, or probably very well will be very different to what's going to work for you. And this is where everything falls back to ownership. It's like, you got to ask yourself, will this work in my lifestyle? Will my partner be okay with that? If for those who are in relationships, can I afford the time? And if not, go back and review your plan and tweak it to something that you know is going to suit your lifestyle, suit what's in front of you. Make sense? Few tools. I'd recommend take a screenshot if you need. 12-month planner, like I said, you can head to Officeworks, grab yourself one. They're about 1 meter long by 45 tall, roughly. Grab yourself a 12-week game plan. Obviously, when you're in the Strong Man of Value, as I've talked about, you'll get those game plans and they're fucking unreal. Actually, I'll bring that up and I'll show you, boys, just because I'm feeling generous. Can you guys see my 12-week game plan there? Or is it still on the So, gents, this is what the game plan looks like. Obviously, every month you're checking on your report card. But you'll see there it gets you to focus on intentions, tasks to achieve the intentions, things that you're grateful for. And then this year we're introducing the Strong Men of Value Challenge, which is based off the 75 hard, but it's a way to commit to doing things differently and really fucking challenging yourself. So every day, you know, you might commit to doing this for 12 weeks. You might commit to doing it for 30 days. You want to be ticking yes on all those boxes. I guarantee you're going to be in a much better physically, mentally, and emotionally position just by doing that alone. Right. So everyone who's in the Strong Men will get theirs and they'll rip in with that. Cool. Grab yourself an accountability partner. So if you've got a mate that you want to swap goals with. You know, I've obviously got coaches, but I've also got mates that I've shared my goals with, and they've shared their goals with me. It's cool to be able to see what other people are doing. And sometimes, you know, a couple of my mates, we're not holding each other accountable as such, but when we catch up, it'll be awesome to be able to check in and go, hey, bro, how's this goal going? Or how's this goal going? Because as mentioned, your mateships even become so much better when you stop talking about beers and women and stuff. You start talking about what your mates are trying to create in their life, how their families are going, what's important to them. It's so much fucking better. What am I doing here? Lucky you don't have to be a guru to use computers here. Set out 12 books for the year to help you achieve your goals. Right? The average book is 300 pages long. Right? The average book. If you can read 10 pages a day, you'll read a book a month. Right? For most people, that might be 30 minutes a day. If you're, you know, depending on your reading speed. Some people, it might take 10 minutes. But think about 12 areas or 12 things that you want to learn about, right? Like, as I've mentioned, you might want to learn about some things we're reading. What are we reading at the moment? Think and Grow Rich. So what are we reading? Think and Grow Rich, learning about money and mindset. Brilliant. Read a book on leadership. Like, think about things that you think will add value to your life. Not only are you going to improve because you're going to improve your articulation and sentence structure, you're going to change and challenge your perspectives. You're going to learn things that you didn't think were possible. And when you're learning, when you're growing, your whole energy and persona is going to be different. Righto? Jerry's just jumped out. And put reminders around the house and set alarms in your phone, right? So like I said, I put my goals around the house. I put my affirmations around the house in the same positions. Other things I've done, I've got alarms on my phone. So you can, I don't know if you can see my phone there, but I've got alarms that go off saying, is what I'm doing right now money, like income producing activity? Is right now, am I remaining hydrated? So I've got alarms that go off during the day that remind me what I want to focus on. Some daily actions you can think about, obviously meditate 10 minutes a day, exercise, sleep, choose your sleep hours, how many pages you're reading, and calling 8 men daily. That's what I do on a daily basis, as an example, to achieve some of my goals. They're the non-negotiables. I don't go to sleep until they're done, and generally I try to get them done before 10. Cool. So gents, just one last one of the strong men of value. Obviously, or not obviously, for those who aren't aware of it, it is a fucking brilliant, and I could play testimonials all day, and I'll play Jez in a second, but within the strong men of value, we work on helping you build a strong mind and a strong body, right? And we do this with the 4 pillars of muscle, momentum, meaning, and mateship. So you get your fitness program in the group program. You get your weekly group call, which is where we check in on how your game plan's going, what's working well for you, what's not. You get to mingle with other blokes and really build that mateship. Your 12-week game plan plus a video library of worksheets and a whole heap of other jazz and whizzazz there as well, which is pretty cool. I know, Brett, are you having a good laugh, mate? I'm just going to stop this share screen now. Going to check out the questions. Feel free to unmute yourself, gentlemen, if you have any questions. How would you break down a goal that seems a bit vague, like I want to be good at uni this year? Would you put goals, systems in place to ensure that you're able to? Yeah, 100%. Well, what I would first get clear on what you would define as being good at uni. Is it a specific GPA or rating? Is it your class attendance? Is it the amount of people that you make friends with at uni? Like, what is a good year at uni? Get clear on what that is, and then put actions that you can take in place in order to achieve that. So if it's GPA, you're probably going to want to study like a motherfucker. If you wanted to network and make friends with similar interests, which is, if you're doing videography and film, Mitch, network with as many people. That could mean a good year at uni. Okay, so that's what I would get specific about. Brandy, do you find a digital calendar or diary works, or do you prefer physical? I prefer, obviously I use both. I use this to ping me just so I don't run over meetings and stuff, which does happen. But physical all the time. That's why I have the big planner, because I love seeing things written out. I've seen where my time's going. Sweet, that's everything. Did anyone have any other questions? Perfect. Well, gents, I appreciate you all jumping on and sitting on here for as long as you did. Like I said, I hope to see a heap of you guys, well, I will see a lot of you guys in the Strong Men of Value kicking off next Monday night. But hopefully you've all taken away something that you can implement and make your goal setting a heap easier for you and a lot easier to achieve this year. And make sure you keep us, let's jump back in, keep me in the loop with how things are going for yourself. And remember, if you do fall off track, right, it happens. Life fucking happens for us all the time. Don't beat yourself up. The next day when you wake up, go, what's the one thing I can do right now to get back on track with my goals that I set? Because if you are setting them, if you are taking the time to do that planning, they're clearly fucking important to you. So don't allow your own limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging habits allow you to kick that off. All right, gentlemen, for those who want to would like to apply for the Strong Men of Value, just head over to the website. You can do your application forms and I'll be in touch with you. For everyone else who's already registered and applied, I look forward to kicking off next Monday night. We do have a launch call just to get everyone set up, get you put in your accountability groups and launch off for a big 12 weeks. Sweet, gentlemen. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy your week and we'll see you soon.